Welcome everybody. I think I'm all ready. I'm Professor Tim Campbell and I will be taking you through this webinar tonight for the Northampton Business School MBA program. Thanks all for joining me. I'm a visiting professor of international management at the university and I also teach on the program. So I hope I can give you some useful insights into it. And what I'm going to do is begin with the presentation of the Northampton MBA program, which will take me about 15 or so minutes, I would hope, and then take any questions that you've got. So let's get going. Now, the best place to start is to talk about Stafford and the role it plays and how it's different from the University of Northampton. Now, you would have all been invited here today because of the good people at Stafford. And just a little bit about the company. It's based in the UAE and has been providing distance learning programs for about 27 years now, if my maths is any good. And it's a resource centre of 5 different British universities. Now, I'm sure you've all been on the website and you would have seen it offers all sorts of programs, including certificates, diplomas, etc., all the way up to doctorates. And of course, included amongst them is the very important University of Northampton MBA program. So what Stafford does, it markets the program, recruits the students, and provides administration and student support services locally. But it's very important to remember that when you enroll on the program, you are completely a student of the University of Northampton. What Stafford is doing, of course, is it's doing these functions that are very difficult for the university to do itself from on campus in the UK. So marketing, recruitment, student administration, but when you're on the program, you're completely a student of the University of Northampton, of course. That's who awards your degree. That's where all the rules and regulations you need to follow and where all the tutors come from. So that's just a word about how Stafford fits in. Talking about the, Northampton, before I get to the university, where Northampton is, if you can see my map there of the UK, and I've got a great big arrow pointing to it, Northampton's a town, it's about 100 kilometres north of London. So it's about an hour by train. And it's an old historic town that's appeared throughout English history. And there's been settlements there for thousands of years. So it's an old historic town. And on the outskirts of the university, of the town, you used to find the university. But now you'll find it right in the middle of the town because the new campus opened just in August last year. They built an entirely new campus. $500 million it cost right in the town. And if you can see from that slide, it's all the bits in the in that red dotted zone. That's the whole new campus. And I've been there twice already, and it really is a fantastic place. So you now find the University of Northampton right in the town square, right in the middle of the town there. Just a couple of things about the university itself. There's only 2 league tables, if you like, that the UK government itself runs. One of them is called the Research Excellence Framework, and the other is the Teaching Excellence Framework. So these are the only 2 league tables you should really be looking at in terms of British universities, because they're of course done by the UK government itself. And in terms of the Teaching Excellence Framework, the UK government Teaching Excellence League Table, the government review stated about the University of Northampton that teaching was of the highest quality found in the UK, and it has of course been given its gold award. And on the MBA program, you will see in the workshops there that we have some fantastic teachers on it. And just some other key points about the university. It's been shortlisted by the Times Higher Education for Outstanding Business School of the Year 3 years in a row. It's recently been the #1 UK university for employability. That's a measure of the number of graduates, once they finish, the percentage who get employment or go into further study. And that percentage has been the highest of any British university quite recently. And it's a good measure of how employers value the degrees from the university. And also for value-added education, which is basically a measure of teaching quality. It has, of course, been awarded its Royal Charter, so it can call itself a UK university. You cannot award degrees in the UK and call yourself a university unless you have your Royal Charter, which it has. And just one other bullet point I wanted to mention, which I think is important, is it's globally recognised. Not only does it have that fantastic campus in the middle of Northampton now, the brand new campus, but they run their programs throughout the world, such as the MBA, of course, that here in the UAE, but also they run programs in Hong Kong, Singapore, as far away as New Zealand. So it means the name and alumni and graduates are becoming known, not just in the UK, but around the world. So that's some key points about the university itself. Let's get on to what we're talking about tonight, and that's the MBA program. So how the MBA program works is it has 8 modules, and you'll see them all here. And basically you study one module, and then you'll hand in your assessments, then you'll move on to your next module. So it follows a nice movement from one, you finish a module, move on to the next, finish, move on to the next. And that's the way you go throughout the program, which in total takes 18 months. And in your very first workshop, it's the only one where you actually study 2 modules. You do critical issues in business and managing organizational behavior. Because critical issues in business is all very much also all about an introduction to the program and different things about academic writing and skills and using NILE, which is the VLE that we use, and all these types of things. So your first workshop is actually 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Cover critical issues of business and managing organizational behavior. And then about 10 weeks later, you get your next module. And then about 10 weeks later, your next module, and so on until you've completed all 8 and you've finished the MBA program. So it's a nice MBA program. It's got a nice mix of a traditional MBA, and traditional MBAs should all study the different functions of business. So you'll see that here, HRM, finance, accounting, operations, supply, marketing, etc. But then also has a lot of these new sorts of things we talk about in today's contemporary business environment, such as innovation and leadership. And in critical issues, we talk about things like corporate social responsibility and risk and all sorts of other things. So it's a nice mix of a traditional MBA program, but with these new contemporary elements added to it. Just a word about the MBA top-up. Most of you, I'm sure, will be interested in doing the full MBA, and that, of course, means doing all 8 of these modules. Some of you may have already studied at level 7 in the equivalent of level 7 in the UK. And I've given some example here. You've done a postgraduate diploma from a British university. There's the ATHE level 7 diplomas, the NCC level 7. There's a variety of these. But if you already have studied 120 credits, then you can just top up to an MBA. And for that, you need to do 2 modules, Critical Issues and Business Research Project. And this can either be done by attending the workshops or online. So just for some of you who are interested in the top up, just bear in mind, if you've already done 120 credits, the equivalent of, and perhaps it's one of these diplomas here, you would be eligible to do the top up. For those of you who haven't, you must of course go through and do the full MBA. So just a little bit more about how the MBA is taught. So as I mentioned, 18 months in total, which is a good amount of time. It's not too long. It's not so short that you're incredibly busy and trying to get things done and trying to juggle your work and your family and your study and all of this. 18 months, I've found, I've taught on a lot of different MBA programs, I find is about right. It's the sort of time you can keep motivation going. As I mentioned, 7 workshops in total. The first is a 3-day workshop and then 6 workshops after that, and they're about 10 weeks apart. And our next start date is not until November. So we'll have to get through the summer, and hopefully with the heat over here, if we can manage to get through that, you'll be thinking about doing the MBA program, and intake 22 begins in November. And so that shows how long we've been running the program for. We do 3 intakes a year, so we must be getting close to the 7th or 8th year of the MBA now. So I'll have the timetable from the university. It'll normally come out by about the end of July. That'll be the timetable for November, and that'll give you all the dates of the workshop for the whole program. So about a month's time, we'll have the full timetable for that. But just make a note of the date, that it will start November 2019. Just a little bit about what happens in these workshops when so the faculty are all from Northampton. And of course, it'll depend a little bit on your tutor exactly what they do. But in general, and what I certainly do in my module, what I aim to do in my workshop for organisational behaviour is to introduce the key concepts of the topic, just to introduce them. And I'll do that by using short case studies, exercises, business games, whatever. I'll also help you find where the resources are, where you're going to find ebooks, where you're going to find articles and this types of things, which, by the way, are all on the electronic library. You can get them at a push of a button, all the resources you need. There's no longer any need these days to walk to a library and get physical books. Everything's electronic. And then the other thing I do in the workshop is explain how to successfully complete the assignments. So after you've finished the workshop, you then know what you need to do the assignments. You'll do those in the gap between your next module, and then 10 weeks later, you come and do the next one. And people really do enjoy the workshops, the teaching, and of all of our tutors. And it's not just the tutors, it's also the people you meet in the workshops as well. Assessment, all modules are assessed through some form of assignment. So it might be an essay, a report, a case study. Finance has just a short quiz, as well as an essay-based assignment. But note that there are no exams on this program. And the reason is that exams tend more so to assess how much you can remember, more so than how much you learn. Assignments actually give you the opportunity to write essays and demonstrate your learning and demonstrate that you can undertake further research and read around topics. The universities tend to prefer the assignment-based assessment. And then the big assessment on the project, on your master's, is the business research project. Some of you may know it as a thesis or a dissertation, and that's about 15,000 words. So that's your big project you do on the master's level. Entry requirements are fairly standard for an MBA program. You need a bachelor's degree and at least 2 years of relevant work experience. If you don't have a bachelor's, we call you non-standard, and then you need at least 5 years of relevant work experience. And just to note that by relevant, I mean that you demonstrate managerial responsibilities. You don't need to have the word manager in your title. In fact, it's becoming less common these days to have the word manager in your title. And there are also less managers than there used to be. And when you get to when you start the program and you get to my module, I'll explain why that is. But just bear in mind, you don't need to have the term manager in your title, just to show that you demonstrate managerial responsibilities like some sort of planning of work, organizing, leading people, controlling, that type of thing. There's lots of support for the program. There's the international program leader who looks after it from the campus in Northampton. There's the local program leader, and that's the role I take. I just look after things locally, and you'll see me at the workshops. We have an expert tutor that comes from Northampton for every module. There's administration, of course, all of the university administration at Northampton, but we also can help you out locally if you don't know, if you not sure where to go or who to contact at Northampton, we can help you with that. And I mentioned this previously, Northampton Integrated Learning Environment, what we call NILE. That's a VLE, a virtual learning environment. For every module on this VLE, which you'll have access to, we post lecture slides, further reading. It's where you submit your assignments and get your feedback and all sorts of other things. All the materials you need for every module will be posted on that NILE site. And the online library has hundreds of thousands of articles, books, everything you need to be able to complete your assignments and read further around as much as you want around the subjects. So just a couple of points from me. Why the Northampton MBA? For a start, for this type of program, remember it is not an online program. It's a part-time taught program. You are taught by faculty and it's run, the modules are exactly the same as you would do on campus. So for this type of this type of delivery, it's a very competitive price. And if you have a look at the Stafford website, you're going to get the up-to-date price for the MBA top-up, and the MBA top-up with workshops. The MBA top-up online and the MBA with workshops, I should say. So have a look at the Stafford website and you'll get the up-to-date prices on that, plus all sorts of rather related information. I also like the Northampton MBA because, as I mentioned, 18 months I think is just right for an MBA. You can keep that sort of motivation for that period of time, but it's also meant for people who work. Everyone on this program works, so it also means you can fit it around your existing commitments. There's lots of support, as I mentioned, the teaching's very good, and the assessments itself as well will really help you learn your subjects. And it strongly emphasizes vocational or job-related learning as well as the theories. So we don't just cover the theoretical aspects of management, very much the theories, but also what that really means to make you a better manager and a better professional in the workplace. And this is attractive to employers who are more interested in practical knowledge and also makes studying for the MBA more enjoyable and relevant for the students. So that's one of my key points about why this is a particularly good MBA program. Okay, I think I'm about spot on time. I am. That's just a little bit over 15 minutes, but there's just my key insights into the program, if you like. And I'm sure you consulted from Stafford has given you lots of other information about it. But please do, now's your turn to answer me any questions you like. The easiest way to do it is to use the question box on the right of your screen there. Type in your questions, and then I can, and then that's the easiest way for me to, oh goodness, I've got lots of them already, for me to answer them. Right, let me start from, bring my box out and I'll start from the top there. Right, from the top. I have many years management experience. Can I get exempted from any subjects? You can't get exempted from the subjects through experience, although that experience will help you a lot on the program to understand the concepts and to apply them to your assignments and whatever else. But you may, for example, you may be a marketer and you've been 20 years marketing, so you think you'd get exempted from that marketing module. Well, there may well have been something you didn't cover in marketing or you haven't had experience of even in that 20 years. So it is important, even if you have a lot of experience that you do all of the different subjects, because I'm sure you will certainly learn something. So it's great to have a lot of experience. It will certainly get you onto the program and be very useful to you while you're on it, but it won't exempt you from the subjects. My next, why does MBA not have an AMBA accreditation, and is this necessary? Okay, so AMBA is the Association for MBAs, a British-based private organisation that accredits university MBA programs should they want to do that. There are pros and cons to AMBA accreditation. Some universities will do it because it's a nice stamp for them to have, if you like. We tend to pay extra for it. But having that accreditation also means it does dictate a lot about how the program's taught and how it's assessed and all sorts of other things. So other universities don't particularly elect, and it costs a lot of money as well, actually, for the universities. So other universities will elect not to go down that route, not to have it. And Northampton has elected not to. It gives them more freedom over the program. And of course, all UK universities are already accredited by the Quality Assurance Agency, which is the UK government's quality assurance agency. So whether you need an additional private accreditation is a matter of debate. So it's something for some sort of pros and cons about it. You need to think about your own situation and whether it's something that's really necessary. My consultant says the first workshop is very important and essential. Absolutely, yes. In the first workshop, as I mentioned, there's a lot of introductory stuff that will help you throughout your program. So we go through a lot of things about academic skills and how to use the Nile site and all of these types of things. So it's absolutely crucial. It really is the most important workshop is that first one. The maximum time to complete the MBA, so 18 months, and I always say do as best you can to keep up in that time frame, keep up with your intake, but things do happen. And so if you have to suspend for, it could be health reasons or whatever reason, that facility is there, but you must be finished within 4 years. If I cannot attend the graduation in the UK, how do I get my degree certificate? That's no problem, they'll courier it to you. Here's a long question. I've looked at the university website and the modules offered via Stafford differ to those on the website. Why is this so? Oh, it's just because it's been repeated twice. That's not so hard. That's right. The university, they do offer more modules than we do, but it's because the university has over 100 students in every intake. So they have more students, so they're able to offer more electives. But what we've done here is actually we've taken the very best modules and put them together into one MBA program. It wouldn't make sense for us to be able to offer so many, to offer a number of different electives with the number of students we have. We get more so between about 30 to 50 in intake. So we've picked the very best ones that are going to be most relevant to everybody. Let's get to the next one. Is the MBA very difficult? Well, that completely depends on the student. But the pass rates are very good. I mean, some people will find it much easier than others simply because of their experience and their abilities. Other people have to work harder, but the pass rates are very, very good. So that shows, no, it's not difficult as long as you put in the effort. Do I have the option to attend the workshops in the UK? Yes. As I said, the program's exactly the same. It's just a matter of timing because on campus in the UK, they don't teach it in the same manner as we do over here. They do bits every week. So although it is possible, it's just, it doesn't quite fit in terms of timing, if you know what I mean. But if you decided to leave, say you're from the UAE, you decide to leave the UAE, go to the UK, you can immediately just transfer straight to the campus. No problem with that. Will the tutors check my draft assignment before I send the final? Yes, your tutors will check drafts, will check a draft and will give you advice, but it depends on the module, but they certainly will. I've completed a postgraduate diploma from another university. Yes, you will, as I said. If you completed a postgraduate diploma, you'd be eligible for the top-up. Let me just scroll down a little bit here. I'm getting a bit... let me just pick. Do I have a second chance to submit assignment if I fail? That's right. You have an automatic right to reset. So if you fail once, you automatically can reset it again. Okay, I've got a question here that 6 years supervisory experience without a degree. Will you be accepted on the MBA or the MBA top-up? You would be accepted on the MBA. For the MBA, if you don't have a bachelor's, if you have at least 5 years of managerial experience, which I can see here you have, you would be accepted on the MBA. For the MBA top-up, you needed to have studied 120 credits at the equivalent of level 7. So you would be on the MBA. Can I visit the tutor in the UK if you wanted? Absolutely, and visit the campus. Fantastic campus there. What sort of career opportunities will it provide me with? Well, looking at the students, other than people who come on an MBA program, why they do it, generally the reasons are they want to get promoted at work, or they want to move to a different organisation, some want to open their own businesses, some look at consultancy, and even some just do it for their own personal benefit and development. So there's a variety of reasons, but anything among those is why someone would want to do an MBA program. Between workshops, are there any online classes available? Now, between the workshops, you will be communicating with your tutor, you'll be doing your assignment, you'll be doing lots of research, but no further classes. All that teaching is done face-to-face in those workshops. But Vish has given me a question I actually don't know how to answer. Is it WES recognised? Tell me what WES means, Vish, then I'll be able to answer that one for you. Maybe I should probably know, but I'm not sure. If there's 6 of us who want to start the program together, will there be a discount in the fees if we all join? Very probably, Abdullah. Check with your consultant at Stafford and they'll help you out with that. What happens if you can't attend a workshop? Well, that happens. You know, try your very, very best to get there, but they are officially voluntary. So if something happens, you can't get to a workshop, everything will be on the NILES site, as well as, of course, the tutor and all the slides and the tutor's details. So you'll be able to contact the tutor and catch yourself up. I've noticed a full-time course in the UK. The difference between that and the online version. Remember, this isn't an online version. This is a part-time version. The full-time version on campus in the UK, it's just condensed. It takes MBA in the UK full-time takes 1 year if you do it full-time. But that means you don't work at the same time. You will be a full-time student for 12 months. This program here is part-time, so it's 18 months. And of course, all the students will be working at the same time. Can I fast track the program to under a year? No, you need to stick with the timetable. And remember, the timetable is, a lot of thought goes into it, so you do get enough time to be able to properly do your assignments and fit it in with work commitments. So I do very much like your enthusiasm, but once you're on the program, you'll see that it's best to keep to that 18 months anyway, because you do need that time if you want to do really well on the program. Where was I? How many study hours are recommended per week? That varies, but usually most students would say about 10 per week. But of course, it depends. Some students will be able to do it faster. Some students may take a little longer, and it can also depend on the topic as well. Some people can find some topics quite easy, and others, such as finance, maybe take a little bit longer. But as a rough guide, 8 to 10 hours a week would be what I'd say to devote to it. Here's a good question. I have a postgraduate diploma from a non-British university, but has been equated as 1 year Canadian diploma equivalent. Am I eligible for the top-up? Send that to your consultant at Stafford and they can check with the university. They need to have a look at your transcript, and then they just need to check that it's the equivalent of a UK level 7. So send in all your stuff to the consultant at Stafford and they can get that checked for you. World Education Service Canada. I've never heard of it, I'm afraid. But that must be what you mean with your diploma there. As I say, get your consultant at Stafford to check that one out. Unfortunately, Canada's one place I've never been, although I would very much like to go at some stage. Thank you, Babish. You've given me the website, so I'll have a look. Last question I see here, do I need to buy any textbooks for this program? No, you don't. No, the textbooks, they're ebooks. So you'll be able to find them through the university library. And the second part of that question, do the tutors give me the recommended readings? Yes, they will. They'll direct you into which readings they want you to have a look at, and then also advise you, of course, to do some more reading yourselves. But that's very much what the workshops are there for your tutors to actually guide you on what you should be reading and doing after the workshop. Oh, here's a question from Susanna I missed. If needed, can you take a break from the MBA? As I said earlier, try not to. Keep to that 18 months. But if something happens, things do happen in the course of 18 months, perhaps something happens at work or family or whatever, you can apply for a suspension of up to 1 year. Are there live lectures? The workshops, They're very much live, face to face. Remember, it's not an online course, you have the workshops. How different is the fee in comparison to the on-campus program? I don't know, I'm afraid, Mavish. I really don't know. You'll be able to check. I'm sure you can have a look on their on the University of Northampton website. You'll be able to find that out. But make sure you have a look at fees for international students. But please also do bear in mind that there's a lot of costs if you're going to go all the way on campus. Whereas for our version of the program, we're bringing the tutors here. So it makes more sense. But I think, as I mentioned before, for this type of program, part-time, fly-in, face-to-face faculty from a good British UK university, I think the fees are very reasonable. Okay, I think I managed that. That's not too bad, but have I managed it? Yes, I have. Okay. Right, thanks everyone for listening. Nice to have all the questions, but please, I'm going to bring up my email address. Where am I? There I am. If anything else does come to you after this webinar and you want to ask me any questions at all, just drop me an email. That's absolutely fine. And I know we're a little way out from the next start date, but it's always good to get applications done as soon as you can and get your application approved, get an unconditional offer onto the program, and then I hope I'm going to see you all in person in November at the first workshop. So thanks for listening, everybody. Bye for now. Have a great night.